Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, my humble obeisances to you all. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for joining His Holiness Candramauli Swami Maharaj's daily class. Today we are continuing with our Srimad Bhagavatam series of second canto, first chapter, verse number 17. And we are very happy to have Maharaj on the call. Hare Krishna Maharaj, my humble obeisances to you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for your time and association. You can please take over, Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Haribol, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Abhyasen Manasa Sudam Trivabhamaksaram Param Manobhyachyat Chita Swaso Ram Bijam Avishmaram. Translation. After sitting in the above manner, make the mind remember the three transcendental letters A, U, Om, A-U-M, and by regulating the breathing process, control the mind so as not to forget the transcendental seed. I'll read it again. After sitting in the above manner, make the mind remember the three transcendental letters A-U-M, and by regulating the breathing process, control the mind so as to not forget the transcendental seed. Omkara, or the pranava, is the seed of transcendental realization and is composed of three transcendental letters A-U-M. By its chanting the mind in conjunction with the breathing process, which is a transcendental but mechanical way of getting into trance, as devised by the experience of great mystics, one is able to bring the mind, which is materially absorbed, under control. This is the way of changing the habit of the mind. The mind is not to be killed. Mind or desire cannot be stopped, but to develop a desire to function for spiritual realization, the quality of engagement by the mind has to be changed. The mind is the pivot of all active sensitive organs, and as such, if the quality of thinking, feeling, and willing is changed, naturally the quality of actions by the instrumental senses will also change. Omkara is the seed of all transcendental sound, and it is only the transcendental sound which can bring about the desired change of the mind and senses. Even a mentally deranged man can be cured by treatment of transcendental sound. In the Bhagavad Gita, Pranava, Omkara, has been accepted as the direct literary representation of the Supreme Absolute Truth. One who is not able to chant directly the holy name of the Lord, as recommended above, can easily chant Pranava Omkara. This Omkara is a note of address such as, "O my Lord." Just as Om Hari, Om means, "O my Lord," the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As we have explained before, the Lord's holy name is identical with the Lord himself. So also is Omkara. But persons who are unable to realize the transcendental personal form or name of the Lord on account of their imperfect senses, in other words, the neophytes, are trained in the practice of self-realization by this mechanical process of regulating the breathing function and simultaneously repeating the pranava, Omkara, within the mind. As we have several times expressed, since the transcendental name, form, attributes, pastimes, etc., of the personality of Godhead are impossible to understand with the present material senses, it is necessary that through the mind, the center of sensual activities, such transcendental realization be set into motion. The devotees directly fix their mind on the person of the Absolute Truth. The one who is unable to accommodate such personal features of the Absolute is disciplined in impersonality to train the mind to make further progress. Jnana Mirandasya Janajana Savakaya Chaksun Militamina Tasmai Shri Guru Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimakti Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Pastyatya Satarine Vanchakalpa Tarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Paevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasavi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this chapter is entitled The First Step in God Realization. So here, one of the more preliminary steps is being delineated or explained. And it is understood that before one can practice spiritual life, one has to control the mind. The mind is uncontrolled, and then, as Krishna says, only when the mind is controlled can one actually direct the mind in the process of spiritual realization. The mind is thinking, feeling, and willing. The mind thinks about something, gets a feel for that thought, either accepts or doesn't accept, and acts or doesn't act based on the feeling that one experiences. So this is the nature of the mind. Mind is very simple to understand. You think of something, you like it, don't like it, you see it's beneficial or unbeneficial, you move towards it or you move away from it. The process is thinking, feeling, willing, and then accepting or rejecting based on one's own value system, like that. And the mind is a moving feature. The mind will keep moving. To keep the mind in one place, it's requires a very intense form of meditation. Just like when you're sleeping or when you're going into it, the depths of sleep, you're slowing down the process of the mind. And then also when you go into meditation, you're also slowing down the activities of the mind. So they're very similar, the sleep state and the meditative state. The only difference is one loses external consciousness in the sleep state, and one keeps consciousness in the meditative state, but in a very slow and very direct way. So meditation, actually recommended meditation, not meditation on something material, but trying to meditate on nothing, which is not possible. There's no such thing as there is a class of people who talk about meditating on nothing, but it's not possible because the mind will always connect itself with something. There is the element of serenity that somehow people talk about, where the mind is not full of thoughts, but still, it is still being directed in a certain direction. And one cannot keep that state more than a few seconds. The nature of the mind is to move. It will move unless it's fixed on an object that is immovable, and that is the spiritual realm. Everything in material realm is movable. Everything in spiritual realm is stationary. So when we focus on the spiritual, we can control the mind. Now here, it's described for those who are neophyte, and that was mentioned in the purport. Srila Prabhupada mentions that. You go down the page a little bit. You'll see here that statement is there. In other words, the neophytes, Prabhupada said, those who are not trained in practicing bhakti, or cannot come to the level of accepting bhakti, but still requires some mental training. Therefore, this Omkara is recommended. I have been personally involved with people who have been chanting Omkara, and they put a lot of time, effort, energy into just chanting of Omkara. It is powerful because it is Krishna in transcendental sound vibration, but in a less personal way, or you might say an impersonal way, as it's mentioned here. Those who cannot accommodate the personal feature of the Lord can meditate in the form of focusing on these AUM, Om, like that. And if it's chanted properly, the mind can somehow focus on this sound vibration. And that helps to control the mind. But that is not an end in itself. One has to actually perform an activity directed in the spiritual realm in order for the mind to actually find happiness in activities. Because we are personal, and everything around us is an expansion of the personal, although it is impersonal. So to meditate and to focus on the external features of the material energy is still within the realm of the external or the impersonal. But if one meditates on the sound vibration, they can begin to control the mind. So this is the first step in God realization. As it says here, just as Omkara is an address, oh my Lord, oh my Lord. So Omkara means oh my Lord. Actually, to break it down further, each of these letters represent an aspect of the absolute truth. A is actually Krishna, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. U is his spiritual internal energy. You might also say Radharani. And M is all living entities, which includes the absolute truth in full in an impersonal manifestation of the absolute truth. So one cannot reach the bhakti through chanting Omkara, but they can meditate or come to the realization of the impersonal Brahman effulgence of the Lord, which is a temporary goal, but at least it stations the mind in one aspect of the absolute truth. Vadanti tat tadvat vidvans tadvat jnanamavayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaditi subjata. So Brahmameti was those who meditate or try to meditate on the impersonal aspect of the Lord, which the Lord says in the Bhagavad Gita it's very hard to do. But those who are very determined and like successful in chanting Omkara and controlling the mind through it can somehow rise above the dualities of the material energy and become free from material happiness and material distress. But as the verse explains even further, that Arunakishtrena padam padam madantiyata, after some time they can't maintain that state because there is no relationship with person. We are personal and we require to connect with person, just like in this world. People who don't have relationships with other people are very miserable. Or if they have the wrong relationships, they're also very unhappy. But if someone has a somewhat of a nice relationship, a pleasant relationship, a compatible relationship with someone in this world, at least on the material platform, there's a little element of happiness there that comes with that relationship, although it's temporary also. So relationship is the feature of life, and the ultimate relationship and the foundation for all relationships, we must add that it's the foundation for all relationships, is our relationship with the personality of Godhead. And therefore, for those who are actually qualified and inspired by that relationship, then to chant the holy names of the Lord, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, to worship and serve the forms of the Lord as appears in the various temples of the Lord, the deities, to hear about his qualities and activities, pastimes, and his characteristics, all bring about a connection with Krishna as a person. And then through that personal relationship, one develops eventually different levels of attraction and attachment to the Lord by hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord, which culminates ultimately in unalloyed service to the Lord. One, through that connection, one starts to want to serve the Lord more and more. And that want, or that desire, becomes natural when one connects with the process of Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, hearing and chanting and remembering Krishna. But this verse is for those who can't begin that process, but still there is some concession, and this is somewhat concessionary, because unless the mind is controlled, no one can begin any form of activity, even material or spiritual. The mind is the rascal. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that the mind is the worst enemy and the best friend. When Prahlad Maharaj was attacked by his father, when he said, Prahlad Maharaj was talking about Vishnu, Hiranyakashipu was an avowed enemy of Vishnu. He said to his son, "You're siding with my enemy." And Prahlad responded, "My dear father, the only enemy is your own mind." Because we can, you'll see, as we live life, you make friends with somebody, and then maybe a couple of days later, that same person is no longer friends anymore. So what changes? Obviously, something changes. But the mind, again, processes, well, yes, now he's an enemy, before he was a friend, or vice versa. We like something, we don't like something. The mind is always flickering, going back and forth, like, dislike, accepting, rejecting. This is the process of the mind. As long as one is controlled by the mind, one cannot be successful in anything they do. Because the mind will lead one wherever the mind wants to go. Mind contains two aspects of itself, conscious mind and the unconscious mind. Within the unconscious mind is all of our experiences, desires, and activities that we have performed for thousands and sometimes millions of lifetimes in different forms. All of that is there because the whole process of transmigration of the soul from one body to another is that the gross body, made of earth, water, fire, air, and ether, as Krishna says, Bhumer apanalo bayu, kamana bude vicha, ahankara iti ame, bina prakriti astada. Earth, water, fire, air, mind, intelligence, and false ego. These make up the total of my material energy. So that's divided into gross and subtle. So death means the end of the gross body. The mind, the intelligence, and the material sense of identity carries one to another body, carries the soul, which is encased in the subtle body, and then one gets another gross body to begin a material life all over again. So we've been doing that life after life. Maya Ravase, Tacho Bese, Tacho Ha Bubu Dubai, Jeev Krishna Das, Vishwas, Koli Na Adukanai, which means life after life will be going from one situation to another. The mind going into another body, another body, another body, another, same mind, the same mind. That's why people sometimes can remember their past life or have experiences in their dreams of something that happened in their past lives, impressions, or some unknown experience which they can't connect in this life. So all of this is due to the unconscious part of the mind, which is, as explained, the larger feature of the mind. The conscious part of the mind, we only use 10 to 15% of our mind in a conscious way. It's similar to a computer. Just like on the computer, whatever's up on the screen is what you deal with. But you know that there's much more information lodged within the computer, much more than what's up on the screen. So we live life up on the screen, what's experiencing on the day-to-day level. But impressions, desires, experiences, idiosyncrasies, different characteristics, we've all packed away in the unconscious part of the mind. So the mind is very powerful, and many times it will bring up these things from the unconscious. And so one has to really learn how to control the mind, which is the feature of spiritual beginning. When the mind and senses have control, as Krishna says, the super soul is already reached, and the dualities of this material world are one is no longer being affected by the dualities in this material world. So one has to regularly practice hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord and focusing the mind upon the absolute truth in any one of its forms. And by doing that, one can direct the mind towards the spiritual realm or towards the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord in devotion. Even a slight deviation of the mind can cause havoc. We saw there's many examples of, for instance, Subari Muni. Subari Muni was a great yogi, and he had the power to meditate, not only meditate, but meditate underwater. So, I mean, that is a great yogic power. He could meditate underwater continuously. One time while he was meditating underwater, he happened to notice some fishes engaged in some kind of, what we say, copulation. That's the word that's used. The fishes were copulating. He became somewhat attracted and then, of course, disturbed by that. And that broke his meditation. And then later on, he came back to the surface and he sought out uh, a, a female partner, and he wound up marrying 50 ladies, actually. That story is mentioned in the 9th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So here's an example. Uh, Shiva, Mahadev. He's not only Dev, he's Mahadev. He's one of the greatest of all Devas. He's powerful. He has his own sampradaya. He is considered to be Dhira. But he was disturbed when he saw the Mohini Murti form of the Lord. He chased after that in the form of a lady who the Lord took it as form, and in which he broke his meditation and caused him to fall down. So these are a few of the many examples of how even a slight deviation of the mind can, if it's taken in the wrong direction, causes havoc. I remember there was one young boy. He was from, I'm in Croatia right now. This boy was also from Croatia. And he was on the seashore doing some kirtan and doing some book distribution. He was all alone, a brahmachari. He rented an apartment and he was doing kirtan and he was also doing book distribution by himself. One day he was on his computer and somehow he hit a wrong button or something happened and came up, and something came up on the screen which was very, what we say, sensual. Somehow or other his mind connected with that and he couldn't break it. And then as he continued to visualize the scene, his mind became more and more disturbed. After a while, of course, he got out of that, but his mind was so disturbed he couldn't think. He couldn't even chat anymore. His mind was so disturbed. He told me personally, later on, he came to me and he told me what the situation was, and he asked me for some advice. And I mean, whatever I could say, I tried to help him. Took him a long time. Actually, after almost a year or so, he finally broke. So the impressions of the mind, if they become so strongly imprinted on the mind, can cause the mind to be so disturbed by that impression that one cannot do anything else but somehow or other struggle with that impression. Even Srila Prabhupada uses his own example. He said, I'm on the plane, I'm traveling, and they have these movies. And sometimes I look to see what's on the movie, and I see all kinds of crazy things. And then when I look away, my mind still thinks of these crazy things. The Prabhupada was using himself as an example of how the mind can easily be deterred away from one's best interest and into a realm where we have the example of Ajamya, a nice boy brought up in a very pious and Brahminical family. He had no exposure to the outside world. He was always very dutiful, doing his puja every day with his parents. And he had to go out and gather some articles for puja. But while he was roaming around, he happened to see a Sudra and a Sudrani. The Sudrani was a prostitute, and they were embracing and in public. Now, this in India, this is hardly ever seen, at least in those days. It was never seen. But he saw something, and his mind became attracted and then attached, so much so that he sought out that lady, later married him, gave up all of his spiritual practice, and became the husband of this prostitute, spending his whole life simply trying to support her economic demands when he had so many children by this prostitute. So here is another example of how someone who is fixed, apparently fixed, or at least somewhat fixed in spiritual life, if the mind can goes to an area, that can also cause one to fall down from their spirit. The Prabhupada said, practicing Krishna consciousness means shaving with a sharp razor. He says, when you're shaving with a sharp razor, you have to be very attentive, because if you're inattentive, there will be some slip and some cut. He said, this is devotional life. You have to be very careful to keep the mind connected to the sound vibration that glorifies Krishna, or to the activities of devotional service. That's why one of the processes that is recommended that one very carefully avoid the association of people who are practicing material life enthusiastically. One who is practicing material life enthusiastic is death. Lord Chaitanya said it's like drinking poison water. That kind of association for a serious devotee. But it just shows how easily the mind can be diverted away from self-realization or Krishna consciousness towards something material. We have our training in material life, life after life after life. So these impressions, these experiences, already there in our previous lives and even in the present life. So one has to be very diligent and careful to keep the mind focused on devotional activities on Krishna consciousness. That's why the best way to do that, to strengthen the mind, is to chant 16 rounds every day, early in the morning, because that will make the mind strong and help the mind to become fixed. And even when we're in association of the external sensual objects, will not be attracted by them so much. But one will not even notice them, although they be around, because the mind is already fixed on Krishna or devotional service. Or one will become disturbed by connecting with the external energy and think, I've got to get away from this. So yeah, so keep good sadhana. Good sadhana is the foundation for strength in our spiritual practice. There are devotees who will not do anything until they finish their 6 minutes. And those devotees are strong in their Krishna consciousness. This chanting of 16 rounds, minimum, of course, we don't say maximum, we say minimum, is required for making progress in devotional service and avoiding the pitfalls that come by the interaction with the external energy, which are many. They're everywhere around. Okay, so yeah. So for those who can't come to the platform of accepting the absolute truth as a person, can approach the absolute truth in an impersonal way through this process of chanting Omkara. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you so much. Such a wonderful class. So mind is all the thing which directs us towards realization, self-realization, or towards in the backside, like the material senses. So yeah, we have to control the mind. Yeah, thanks so much for the reminder. Dear devotees, if you have any questions or comments or realizations, you can please go ahead, and you can turn on your cameras if possible, wherever you are. Hare Krishna. Krishna Kaviraj Prabhu, please go ahead.
Wait, let's get some more devotees to turn on their.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm sure they can do it. Come on, Somya Datra, you can do it. Okay, we need some more. Ananda Sangar. Who else can we? Sri Devi, come on. Are you hiding for some reason, Sri Devi? Olga, she's always got her camera on. Okay.
Guru Maharaj, I'm here. It's just that someone was at the door.
Okay, anybody else? Manisha, she's always likes to come on in a personal way. Bonnie,
Yeah.
thank you, Bonnie. Okay, we're getting close.
Thank you.
5, 10, 15, 20. 20 out of 24, pretty good. Okay, the rest I won't say anything about. Amrita Sundari, I know you can do it. No cooking while you're listening to class. Scarlett, we won't ask. She has good reasons. Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Hey, questions? Who was the
Yeah.
first one?
Krishna Kaviraj Prabhu, please go ahead.
Krishna Kaviraj.
Thank you very much. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to all of the Vaishnavas. Maharaj, for a newcomer, should we ever suggest the chanting of Omkara? And if so, under what circumstances?
What was that word? Anita, bro?
A newcomer, somebody that's new to Krishna consciousness.
Newcomer.
Newcomer.
Oh, okay. Newcomer. No, we should ask them to chant Hare Krishna. Prabhupada didn't talk about, starting people off with Omkara. No, we preach chanting Hare Krishna. And those who can accept it, they're fortunate. But when this is for people who just can't do it, for whatever reason, they can't approach the absolute truth in a personal way. Some of them may have been offenders to the absolute truth, and therefore they're blocked from approaching in that way, maybe in previous lives or even in this life. Or those who are very much inclined to the impersonal aspect of the word, who read books about spiritual life and want to practice in that way. So we encourage them also to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, but if they don't want to, we don't force them. We're not there to force people, but if they begin from this point, then that's fine.
Thank you very much for clarifying, Maharaj.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Sridevi Mataji, please go
Thank you, Srimati. Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my most humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Guru Maharaj, as you were speaking on control of the mind, I was thinking about how easy it is to get distracted. And my concern is anything that is routine, I get bored very quickly with it. If something is to be done every day, after some time, I will start rebelling against it. And my mind will say, do something different, do something different, do something different. And one little thing is enough, and then I'll get distracted by that. So as long as I go to the temple, I'm good. But if I don't go to the temple, it's disaster. The whole day is disaster. So how can I train my mind to stick to the program no matter what?
Well, we talk about sadhana, and there's where sadhana really is foundational. The temple is giving you sadhana in a very powerful and very direct way. One, through association. Two, through opportunities to associate and chant together. Three, through worshiping the deity in his beautiful form, Sri Sri Radha Madhava Astasaki, Prahlad Nrsingadev, and Panchatattva, so beautiful. So the Lord appears. These are all, the appearance of the deity is for the benefit of the devotee. So the devotee can focus their mind on Krishna, focus their devotion, attention on Krishna also. So if you are already acknowledging that, yeah, going to the temple is beneficial. And if you don't, then continue and work that schedule in. But don't become bored by routine, because this routine of going to the temple is not like a material routine. Actually, we start getting attracted to it, and then it becomes, it's not something that is dry or stale or mechanical. There's always variety in temple experiences also. So because it's spiritual, it's not mechanical. But if you're getting bored doing the same thing, even spiritually, then you might continue to do the spiritual activities in a more variegated way if your mind is that stubborn. For instance, one day you go to TOVP for morning yoga. One day go to the temple for morning yoga. There are also little temples in Mayapur. You can also go to other little temples.
Thank you very much, Guru Maharaj.
Variety within the classification of spiritual. But try to understand that if you focus your mind after in something, you develop an attraction. We say that, and it's true. Devotees always have that experience. You don't have any desire to read, then just read. And as you read, the desire will increase. You don't have any desire to chant, then chant, and your desire will increase to chant. You don't have a desire to associate, then associate more and more. And so, yeah, we can get connected to the spiritual energy through repetition. Repetition is good because it is not material, therefore it works on the soul and along with the mind. Sonal.
Thank you,
Hare
Maharaj.
Krishna Maharaj. Please accept my obeisances to all the devotees, all glories to Shri Prabhupada. Thank you for the email, Maharaj. I'll keep you updated. I had a quick question regarding this exposure to all these outside influences. So when we see something, we have these thoughts and emotions going on. So is it worth taking a pause and try to relate that basic emotion to Krishna? Because as we say that this material world is the perverted reflection of spiritual world. So there is the root emotion which is related to Krishna. So is it worth thinking about it, or shall we just pray to Krishna?
Well, give you an example. Here I am in a very nice part of the material energy. And with this beautiful lake, it's not the lake, it's the ocean actually. And the weather is ideal and everything is of course, everything is centered around sense gratification. But Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, so remember that verse, that I simply, this material energy, I simply pervade with a fraction of my splendor. What is that verse? In the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Srimati, go to that. If you see the beauty of this material world or something that attracts you, connect it to Krishna, because Krishna is the source behind it. And it's by it's his energy anyway. Whether it's pleasing or unpleasing, it's still its energy. Pleasing and unpleasing is our desire on how we want to see things. But Krishna says, this is a very nice verse. There's two verses. We go to the very end of the 10th chapter.
Yeah.
Go to the very bottom. Oh, yeah, but know that all opulent, beautiful, and glorious creations spring from the spark of my splendor. Any glorious or beautiful existence should be understood to be a fragmental manifestation of Krishna's opulence, whether it be in the spiritual or material world. Anything extraordinary opulent should be considered to represent Krishna's opulence. And then the next verse. But then he says, what is the need? There is a need there, Arjuna, for all detailed knowledge. With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. The Supreme Lord is represented through the entire material universe by his entering into all things as a supersoul. He tells Arjuna there is no point to understand every opulence and grandeur separately. Know that all things that exist are coming from Krishna. From Brahma down to the smallest ant, everything is being entered and sustained by Krishna. So anything you see or experience in this world, connected as the opulence of Krishna, the energy of Krishna. And then you won't so much try to enjoy it or reject it. You'll see it as connecting with the source itself. Here it says, if, however, one thoroughly studies the different descriptions of the opulences and expansions of Krishna's energy, then one can understand without a doubt the position of Sri Krishna and can fix his mind in the worship of Krishna without deviation. For this whole 10th chapter, Krishna says, you know, I am, what is it? I am, what are some other things? I am the Himalayas, what does he say?
I am the moon.
I am the sun, I am the light of the sun and the moon.
I'm the taste of water and the fragrance of all of the earth.
I am the sound in ether. I am the ability in man. That's in the 7th chapter. In the 10th chapter here, he says, all glorious, what does he say? Of weapons, I am the thunderbolt. Of warriors, I am Skanda. Of transcendental sound, I am Japa. Beautiful. Krishna is showing that all of the glory of this material energy is a manifestation of his energy. And so, in one sense, he's non-different. In another sense, he's different. So we can focus on the non-different being. We can't worship the energy, but we can appreciate the energy as being coming from the source, Krishna.
Maharaj, when we are chanting, because when we chant, can we use that chanting to relate to these things directly rather than just simply chanting?
No, just chant to hear. Don't focus your attention outside of the sound vibration of Krishna, because chanting is mantra meditation. It's purifying the mind. It's focusing the mind on the absolute truth in the form of sound. It is a meditation, and it brings the soul, awareness of the souls of Krishna's presence through sound vibration. So don't do anything but chant and hear. That's all.
Okay. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Thank you.
It's the most powerful form of worship, chanting and hearing. Very direct also.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank
Yeah.
you much. Yeah, Balakrishna Prabhu, please go ahead.
So Madatri, you're hiding again. Where'd you go? Anyway,
Yeah, yeah, Prabhuji, please go ahead.
Yes. Hare Krishna Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances. humble obeisances to Srila Prabhupada, and my obeisances to Vaishnavas everywhere. Maharaj, my question is about devotional service. I think Prahlad at some point, I think, had said, Shravanam Kirtanam, there are these many methods of doing devotional service. But I personally can probably only relate to the first two, Shravanam Kirtanam, definitely. Smaranam, yes. After that, I'm completely lost. Like, I wouldn't know where to start with Pada Sevanam and all those things. So would you like to comment on that, Maharaj?
Well, you go to the temple, right? That's where I met you.
Yes,
That's Archanam.
I see. Okay.
If you're coming to see the deity and take darshan of the deity and offering your obeisances to the deity, that is Archanam. The Archanam is not just being on the altar and twirling the different incense sticks. No, that's Archanam too. But those who are in the temple, they're actually practicing Archanam by giving one's attention and devotion to the deity form of the Lord. That's Archanam. If you're offering prayers, that's Vandanam. So we offer prayers. My dear Lord, I'm in Maya, get me out.
Mhm.
Something like that.
Yes,
Or my dear Lord, I like this Maya. I don't want to get out, but I know it's not right.
it is nice.
This Maya is pretty good. So get
Yep.
me out after a little while, not right away. So we offer prayers, yeah. So prayers is a very big part of our process of worship. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Archanam, Vandanam, Padasevanam. Do you travel to holy places in India?
Unfortunately, I've never been to Vrindavan because all this is new to me. But yes, I've been to many dhams.
Yeah, I know you are connected with the Vallabha Acharya Sampradaya, right?
Yes, Premanand Maharaj, but that I do Radha Nam Jap every day because of that. So that started only 1 year ago.
Yeah, but
Uh,
to visit holy dhams is
yeah.
Padasevanam.
Okay.
Do you show up for Janmashtami celebration?
Yes. Do all kinds of services too. Yeah. Mhm.
That's Padasevanam.
Wonderful.
If you go to the festivals in honor of the personal form of the Lord, that's Padasevanam, worshiping the
Mhm.
Lord. So you might not come to the point of, Sakyam and
Dasyam Shakyam. Yeah.
Atmanuvedanam. Dasyam that's when you are just fully engaged in any kind of service for the Lord. So if you read read Sri Ishopanishads, there's one chapter in the Sri Ishopanishads, I can't remember which one, it describes the 9 process and that devotee who perfected each one of the 9. So you can get a little bit of a description of what are those 9 processes. But if you read that verse you quoted, it's one of the longest purports in the entire Bhagavatam. But Srimad Bhagavatam 7, 5, 23, and 24, I think it is. 22 and 23, or 23 and 24. In the 5th chapter of the 7th canto. In that, Prabhupada explains each of the 9 processes in detail.
Mhm.
It's a very important verse. It's about 11 pages per. So yeah, you're doing them, but you may not be completely aware of the fact that you're doing them. But then if you focus on one of them and try to cultivate a particular one, you can be proficient in that one.
That would be listening to songs, Maharaj.
Well, that's Shravanam. Mhm. Good.
Thank you, Maharaj. Pavani and Bhagyashree Mataji.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada and your lotus feet. Maharaj, I had a question. In our sampradaya, in which bhava do we worship Krishna?
How do we worship Krishna?
In which ras or bhavan we worship Krishna?
What sampradaya?
In our sampradaya,
Mhm.
how do we worship Krishna? In which bhava? Like Aishwarya bhava, Madhurya bhava?
Well, it starts off with Aishwarya Bhava, and then it progresses towards Madhurya Bhava. But it starts with awe and reverence. And then as it develops, one becomes attracted to Krishna in a personal way. But that's for that's higher levels of spiritual realization. That's Raganuga Seva or Raganuga Bhakti, spontaneous devotional service. But we get some indication of Krishna's sweetness when we hear about his pastimes in Vrindavan, about his devotees and how they worship him in the mood of Vrindavan. So that's the Madhurya aspect. But generally, we begin and develop through the Aishwarya Bhav. That means we worship Krishna as the supreme, not in the mood of Vrindavan, but that will come as we progress in devotional service and we read the pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan. The more you hear and chant about Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan, the more you become inclined to that mood of bhakti. So yeah, you like to dance for Krishna?
Yes, Maharaj.
You dance for Krishna, that's in the mood of Lord Chaitanya's mission.
Yes.
Singing, dancing, and so Krishna's called Nataraj. He is the best of all dancers. Lord Chaitanya is called Gaur Nataraj. Nityananda is called Nityananda and Nitai Nataraj. So all of them are great dancers. So you can focus on the Lord in his dancing mood.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj.
We have to, Prabhupada gave us all of these pastimes, not so we can just have them on our books. We should read them and try to understand them more and more.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you, Pavani. Thank you, Pavani. Yeah, Krishna Kaviraj Prabhu, before going to your question, I just want to read one question from chat. Rasavilasni Radha Mataji is asking Guru Maharaj, Hare Krishna Maharaj and everyone, please accept my humble obeisances, all goes to Srila Prabhupada. If we are doing strong spiritual practice and suddenly fall into illusion, will God save us in some way? As we heard example of Ajamil and Lord Shiva, can someone return to spiritual life?
Yeah, I gave you that example about that brahmachari who was really fixed at Krishna consciousness, but he deviated. And he deviated quite strongly, but somehow he came back. So yeah, Krishna will try to help you to come back, but you have to make an effort to come back. Prabhupada said it's third class to fall down. It's first class to get back up. Don't stay down. Oh, I fell down. Oh, I can't do it. Might as well give up. No. Get up and try again. Get the help you need in order to, again, pick up your devotional life. Yes, Krishna will
very much.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada used to say, God helps those who help themselves.
Thank you, Maharaj. Prabhuji, please go ahead.
Very much. What can you suggest for us to increase the potency of our prayers?
Do them regularly. Yeah, just keep doing them regularly. I know some devotees who have a set of prayers that they chant every day. They have a whole set of particular prayers and they chant those prayers every day. Shiva Ram Maharaj has written, well, not written, but his devotees have composed one small little book. It's called My Daily Prayers. And he lists all of the different prayers that he sings every day like that. But you can choose which prayers really attract you the most. Prayers about Lord Chaitanya. We have the, what is it? The 8 features of Lord Krishna and Lord Chaitanya's day. And in there it describes what the Lord does in the 8 different parts of the day. And it's written in a series of beautiful prayers to offer to the Lord as you chant them. That's a nice little book. I forgot the name of it. I have a copy, but it's not with me now. So yeah, I mean, our whole philosophy, all of our literature is mostly prayers. That's all it is. Prayers by Queen Kunti, prayers by Lord Shiva, prayers by the Prachetas, prayers by Lord Brahma, prayers by Lord Shiva, prayers by Daksha. So many prayers. Prayers by Narada Muni. So many.
Thank you, Maharaj. Sometimes I find that even though I try and pray every day, that my prayers are not good enough. And therefore I find myself praying, for example, when I want to chant, I will pray to Jankinath Prabhu to give me the mercy to pray to Haridas Thakur, to give me the mercy to chant nicely.
Good. That's nice. That is a very nice way to pray.
Thank you.
You chant nicely, then one of the prayers is to Srila Haridas Thakur. What is that prayer? O Vaishnava Thakur, Srila Haridas Thakur. Alone I have no hope to chant the holy names of Lord Hari. Please be merciful, and with a particle of faith, give me the treasure of the holy name of Lord Shri Krishna. That's a prayer that we can chant.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you, Maharaj. Such a nice.
Anybody wants prayers, they can just write me and I'll send them a prayer.
Yes, Maharaj, sure. Thank you so much. Maharaj, I have a question. When I just want to understand, Parikshit Maharaj is a pure devotee. When Sukadeva Goswami was he's trying to prepare him for to hear the Srimad Bhagavatam. So why actually he's going in this route, like towards the Omkara and Ashtanga Yoga, and after that he's explaining Virat Rupa. So why he's going this route, even though he's a pure devotee?
He's just he's reciting Bhagavatam.
Okay.
That's Bhagavatam.
Oh.
He'll talk about other things too throughout the later cantos. But each one of these topics are, because they're connected to Krishna, they're transcendental.
Mm.
Bhagavatam contains 10 topics, and he'll cover all 10 through the 12 cantos of Bhagavatam. So that's just one. But he's also teaching one should not directly go to the 10th canto and jump up to Krishna's pastimes. That's not the process. Prabhupada said one should very carefully, verse by verse, go step by step, reading and understanding Bhagavatam verse by verse. That's what we're doing every day.
Yes.
And you'll see there's a systematic gradation in the knowledge as you continue in Bhagavatam.
Mm.
The knowledge is being given in the first canto, all of it, but then in more of a, what we say, pastime setting, it's been given in the later cantos also. Prabhupada said everything's there in the first canto, but the rest is just an expansion of that same knowledge.
Yeah. Okay, Maharaj.
So
Thank
this
you.
is not only for Maharaj Purji, this is for all of us.
Mm. That's true. Okay, Maharaj, thank you for clarifying. Yeah. Maharaj, I was also thinking like when so this mind is if it is disturbed, we are not so by seeing this pastime, like when Maharaj Sukadeva Goswami is telling step by step, like clear detached from the material things and then sit in secluded place and concentrate on your mind or Omkara, all these things. So even we face the same, right? In disturbed state, I'm not able to think anything else or focus on chanting or anything. Once we clear out everything or do all the things which are in my mind, then only I'm able to focus on my chanting. So yeah, the same thing I also felt. So I just want to share that. That's all.
You might never get to your chanting that way.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, because these calls are in the early morning itself for me. So first thing I wake up and I see my WhatsApp. So to check my messages. So
Because I usually send you a message once.
yes, Maharaj, and also any other message also regarding the class. So I'm always thinking about the other thing, the services which I'm doing. Rather, I'm focused on my chanting in the morning times. So that's the main thing for me. So yeah, I'm trying.
Yeah. What time is it there now?
It is 7:11 in the morning. So 6
it
o'clock it starts. The class starts at 6 o'clock.
starts at 6. Chant before 6?
Yeah, I'm trying, Maharaj, but some days it's not possible. Some days I'm able to.
As soon as I get off, and you just close your windows, put the shades down, locks the doors, grab, don't talk to your kids.
Yes, Maharaj. Devotees, any more questions?
Doing what is called a time zone deficit.
Yes, Maharaj.
A good time zone for this class. It's really too early. The earliest I give this class is at 8 o'clock in the morning when I'm in somewhere in the world. Sometimes I give it at 7, but no earlier than that.
Yeah. When you were in Dallas, you gave it 7 o'clock.
Yeah, that's difficult because I usually try to finish my rounds before I do anything.
Sridevi Mataji, you have any question?
I just wanted to make my question to Guru Maharaj. Guru Maharaj, if I may humbly ask, is it that after a period of strong sadhana, one slips and becomes very weak in sadhana, then again to climb up takes a lot of strength to again come back to strong sadhana?
Well, one slips maybe because they're making advancement and they're starting to think, I'm making advancement. And then you slip because you're becoming a little bit proud that you're making advancement. You don't have to slip. It's not required. Everyone has to go through this process of up and then down again. Not like that. But there is this feature of the false ego to take credit for one's advancement in devotional service. When that pride comes in, then after some time, if it doesn't get removed, then we start losing the taste. Be careful of that pride.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Mhm. Always remember that everything is mercy. And we make the effort, and when the effort is made in the right mood, then we get the mercy. And the mercy is the culmination of our progress in Krishna consciousness. So they say, don't be proud over borrowed plumes. That's a statement. So we're getting something from the outside that's giving us advancement in spiritual life. So why should we take credit for that? We give credit to the spiritual masters, to Krishna, to the previous acharyas, even to the association of devotees. If we start taking credit for our success in spiritual life, then that pride can start to grow and cause one again to slip.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Pride is very subtle. Lust you can see, anger you can see, greed you can see, illusion not so easy to see, but sometimes you can see it. But pride is, as you go up the scale of the 6 anarthas, pride is the 5th. That one's not so easy to detect. And the last one, envy, that one is even more subtler.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
That's why sadhu sangha will help us to overcome these pitfalls that we could fall into. Krishna consciousness is fun when we do it with other people. When you do it alone, it's nice also, but Prabhupada always he talks about this the other day. He said, I'm sitting here in my room and I'm by myself. It's not so much fun, but if someone else comes, then I enjoy more. Right, Tanya? She lives out in the wilderness there. And somebody comes to her house, she thinks, oh, it's so nice. Somebody came to my house. Even if it's somebody she doesn't know, still it's nice. Right? Yeah, everything is relationships, association is the happiness of life. Okay, so
Thank you, Maharaj.
we can
So shall we stop here? I don't see any questions. Dear devotees, any last minute questions?
Will Guru Maharaj have time for chanting?
There's time, but there's no time.
Okay.
So there's
Thank
both
you.
time and no time. He's not here. Based on the fact that I have no time, I have some time. I'm waiting for someone who's not here. Should have been here an hour and a half ago. So
Can we do one round chanting?
we'll do one round chanting.
Okay, thank you.
We're doing this for Srimati, so she can get jump started into our japa.
Thank you very much.
Jai Shri Krishna, Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara, Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Radha, Siva.
Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Thank you very much.
Thank
And
you.
I really enjoy this satsang when all the devotees put their cameras on.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gurumaharaj.
Thank
Thank
you,
you
Maharaj.
so much, Gurumaharaj.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Humble obeisances.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Listen.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Bolo, thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj. Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Oh, Vani.
Hare
Candramauli Rasa Vilasini.
Hare Krishna. Hare
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Please accept
Hare
my
Krishna.
I don't know.
What a beautiful name you
Glory to
Hare Krishna.
have. Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai, Jai. See you all
Guru Maharaj ki jai.
devotees. Thank you so much.
For the next verse in Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank
The
you.
second canto is just loaded.
Yeah.
As you get the higher chapters, it's just amazing. So stay with it. It gets better and better, more interesting, more philosophical.
Thank you so much.
Hare
Hare Krishna.